These are all €1.
Hello, I'm gonna do a market run today where I'm gonna try to find some veggies and some still life materials for a quick little watercolor study. So let's see what we can find. Okay, so I got a bag full of peppers, just some orange and red bell peppers. So I think that could make for something pretty beautiful for the still life. And another thing that was pretty cool was the greengrocer that I got the peppers from lent me his platter that the peppers were sitting on, which I think could make for a nice still life material as well. So I'm gonna put that all together and get started. Okay, so before I get started, I just wanted to show you the materials that I have. Some watercolor paper, 300 gram. This is Fabriano. I just have it taped to a piece of cardboard. I have my watercolor paints that are, as you can see, variety of colors. You could just use whatever watercolor paints you have. This is an Etchr set. I'll put all the notes below for this video. Some round watercolor brushes. I have a Sumi ink brush as well. Two jars of water and some paper towel. And that's about it, except I'm gonna start off with a piece of scrap paper and just a pencil, because I'm gonna do some quick thumbnail sketches in order to position and place the image so I can see what I'll be painting. Okay, so I just did these 4 little thumbnail sketches and I wanted to give myself some options. So I think what I'm gonna do is go with this image right here. This one is pretty zoomed out, a little bit to the right. These two are more zoomed in. I wanted to have a little bit more space, but still come in a little bit closer. So I like this one. I also want to convey the cast shadow that's coming off of the platter. So that's going to be helpful as I go ahead and start off into the actual watercolor paper. You could see up on the top right, that's what I'm looking at. That's pretty much what I'm looking at. So now I'm going to get to the drawing stage. And with the drawing, it's about ellipses and spheres. So a lot of round arcing lines wrapping around the forms. And so I started with doing a wide ellipse for the platter and then coming into the platter to draw the peppers. And they're all pretty much these rounded, spherical shapes. So I'm building up, overlapping them. And then once I'm able to block those all in, I could go in and do some more details, like for example, the stem, caps, and then also cross contour lines. Those are the lines that go over the form. And think of it a bit like the lines that pass over a basketball. They help to accentuate the form, and they, especially for something like peppers, they also can help to illustrate the way that the pepper sort of turns in and then out. You know, there are these bumps around the form of a pepper. So those are for the cross contour lines. And then once I've laid out the entire drawing, I'll go ahead and just erase out the lines especially where I'm going to be putting in highlights because I'm prepping this for the watercolor painting. So ultimately I want to clear out the line work. And so now I'm going to transition into the painting stage. And what I did is I first started with light colors of blue and yellow to paint around the highlight. Now the highlight, I'll just primarily leave either white or slightly tinted with these yellows and blues. Then once I move into the actual peppers, I will give myself a variety of yellows and colors to move through. So for example, for these yellow peppers, I have, you can see on the right on the palette, I have about 3 different yellows that I weave between. So a lighter yellow, a warmer yellow with a little bit of orange, and then even a darker yellow that has almost like a bit of yellow ochre in it. And I do the same thing with the red pepper. You can see I have 3 different reds that I'm working in between, and I do something of a pull stroke. That means I usually lay down a darker color, so the darker purplish red first, and then I pull and extend that color with lighter reds, and then also even more diluted reds, so it becomes a little bit more pink around the highlights. And then once the initial yellow washes of those first yellow peppers are done, I go back into them and I start to do more details, some second layers to add shadow. And one thing about the shadow is that I try to spread the colors around a bit. So that's why you'll see I add a little bit more red into the yellow peppers. I'm adding the green stems now. So I'm going to be using that green into other parts of the painting, not just on the stems, but also even, for example, the shadows on the yellow pepper. I'll put it in I'll mix the green with maybe a touch of red as well to create a bit of a brown color. And that brown color will be used for, again, shadows. So one color combination I use quite a bit is alizarin crimson and viridian. And those make quite a dark grayish color, brownish gray, which can be quite effective for shadows. And also just dark brownish colors, which is exactly what I did here with the platter. I used the same method where I have about 3 different colors that I'm weaving between. One is the alizarin crimson and viridian combination. Another one is more of a yellow ochre with burnt sienna. And another is more of a blue with a bit of orange. And I just went in between all 3 of those colors, mixing them down as I laid out the platter. Then once the platter was dry, I placed in this cast shadow around it. And you can see it has a bit of a gradation, this spread from that blue that's closest to the platter. That's a bit of a cerulean blue. And then I just pulled that out with a bit of grayish wash to have a transition there. So now as I'm doing these little final touches, what I'm trying to do is to create a little bit more final form, increase the contrast a bit, and ultimately just allow for that sense of light and texture to really come through, that shine and shimmer on the surface of the peppers. And that's pretty much about it. I wanted to spread that red around, so I added that for the signature. So there you have it, a pepper painting featuring some peppers from the market. I hope you enjoyed the demonstration. If you did, please feel free to like the video and also subscribe. I'm going to be doing more videos like this. If you have any questions or comments, you know what to do. You could just leave a comment below and I'll respond as soon as I can. So that's about it. Now I'm going to go back and return that platter to the nice gentleman that passed it to me. So long.